the land of Hyrule, there echoes a legend held dearly by the royal family, that tells of a boy who saved a kingdom. He traveled over oceans, between worlds, and even across time itself. He goes by many titles: Hero of Time, Hero of Winds, Hero of Light. But this legendary hero has only one name: Link. The Hylian's adventures to save Hyrule from the evil Ganon are known to us by a special name: The Legend of Zelda. For nearly 30 years, Nintendo's marquee franchise has taken us to some of the most amazing worlds, pitted us against the most ferocious of monsters, and stumped us with some of the most frustrating puzzles conceived in a video game. Now it's time for us to do the impossible, nigh the unthinkable, a prospect more terrifying than piecing together the franchise's infamous timeline, picking our top 10 Zelda games of all time. Despite earning high marks from us, we decided against the inclusion of A Link Between Worlds, on the basis that it's too soon to properly evaluate where it falls in line with the rest of the series. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce and our sanity. Number 10. Oracle Series. Some might think we're fudging the rules, counting Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages as a single game, but any Link worthy of his Master Sword plays these excellent and overlooked Game Boy Color quests in tandem. The Oracle games evoke Link's awakening as well as the original Zelda, even cribbing some of the bosses. The intuitive password system provides rewarding interlinking excellence, though those who could only play one could still opt between the more puzzle-heavy Ages and action-oriented Seasons to satisfy a particular Zelda craving. Number 9. The Wind Waker. The Wind Waker has been a controversial gem in Zelda's crown ever since it was first shown to the masses at Space World in 2001. Some argue the cel-shaded cartoon style doesn't fit the Zelda universe, while others felt it was the most expressive and downright adorable adventure in the series yet. The miles of open ocean that needed crossing and scattered errands that needed doing were a bit too much for those used to a more rewarding pace in their Zelda games. The fanbase, including members of the GT staff, remains split on the issue, but wherever the Wind Waker ultimately should reside on this list, there's no question it belongs. Number 8. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. If side-scrolling combat and an experience system make Zelda 2 a black sheep, so be it. Sometimes outcasts are simply misunderstood. Zelda 2 features some of the best swordplay in the series, largely because of its enemies. Getting past an Iron Knuckle shield or dodging a Red Daira's axe requires precision and patience, unlike other Zelda games that typically encourage you to slash away on sight. Many bemoan that the NES sequel doesn't feel like Zelda, but just like with the Wind Waker, the fans aren't always right. Number 7. Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword has a lot of detractors, even among Zelda fans, but once you've let them finish airing their grievances about Fi talking too much or how they couldn't figure out the controls or whatever, you'll find that this is the Zelda game with the most fully developed characters, interesting environments, and what is probably most unique for the series, an incarnation of Zelda worth caring about. In the end, Skyward Sword is a game that behaves as if it is aware of its own legacy, finding new things to say while abiding to, and then establishing a meaningful mythology for all legends to come. Number 6. Twilight Princess. Coming off of the cartoonish nature of the Wind Waker, Nintendo aimed to please longtime Zelda fans by taking the series in a darker direction. Twilight Princess, the first Zelda title to earn a T rating, refined the template set in place by Ocarina of Time and tasked Link to save Hyrule yet again. It was also the first Zelda to launch on a new console, the Wii, and utilized the system's new motion controls in creative ways. With one of the best sidekicks in franchise history, Midna, and an ambitious final showdown with Ganon, Twilight Princess is a modern masterpiece. Number 5. Majora's Mask. The world of Termina is no Hyrule, but that's fine by us. If Ocarina set the template for 3D Zeldas, this sophomore effort immediately shook the foundations. With the Groundhog's Day time hijinks, the many Bomber's Notebook side quests, expanded overworld, and the ability-granting masks that literally transformed Link, Termina was worth fighting for, the moon be damned. We can even overlook the limited amount of dungeons and need for the RAM expansion pack for these melancholy and magnificent 72 hours. Number 4. The Legend of Zelda. Despite being over a quarter-century old, The Legend of Zelda is just as spectacular today as it was in 1987. There's a feeling of immediacy present in this Hyrule fantasy that many other games in the series lack. Within seconds of starting, you can enter a cave, get your sword, and most of the overworld is free for you to explore. You're also not confined to a linear progression, since dungeons can be finished in various orders, and several items can be skipped entirely. Though it can be cryptic at times, we'd gladly take perplexing roadblocks over the annoying and obvious advice of Navi or Fi.
Number 3. Link's Awakening.
Yes, believe it or not, one of the best Zelda titles originally came in grayscale. Link's Awakening was clearly built on the style of A Link to the Past, but has a unique sense of heart and friendliness that's reflected even in its music. Its strangely familiar characters play a central role, and you even cross paths with Mario likenesses, such as a dog resembling a chain chomp. The dungeons mix the top-down view with side-scrolling sections, and by using the rock's feather, Link could jump freely across platforms. Top that off with an ending so strong it could make you cry, and you have a Zelda classic that should never be forgotten.
Number 2. A Link to the Past.
Typically, when the debate between 2D and 3D Zelda comes to a head, there's one game above all others that emerges as the champion for the sprite-based cause. A Link to the Past is arguably the quintessential Zelda experience, or at least the definitive 2D installment in the series. It incorporates the best part of its predecessors and manages to nearly improve them to the point of perfection. Much of the series' popular tropes and staples, whether it's the unforgettable soundtrack, clever items like the hookshot, or multifaceted puzzles, were established in this landmark title, though we're still not sure why Link's hair is pink.
Number 1. Ocarina of Time.
The first Zelda game in 3 dimensions, Ocarina of Time is no stranger to the number 1 spot, as some people consider it the greatest game ever made, let alone the finest in the Zelda series. The game amazed in 1998 with its open hillsides, changing time of day, and lock-on combat camera. It's still astounding in 2013 with a storyline that unfolds at a near-perfect pace, a visual style that pulls the entire world together, and an unparalleled musical score, the manipulation of which is crucial to the story via the titular wind instrument. From the epic in-game cutscenes to the fascinating ways Link's journey affects Hyrule, from home consoles to handheld split screens, Ocarina of Time is a masterful work of art.